We're gonna put salt on the plate. We're gonna put some pepper on the plate. Now, Kelly, I want you to separate the salt from the pepper and explain the difference.
How?
You can't. You can see the difference in color, right? Mm-hmm. But we're all on the same plate, aren't we?
Yeah.
This is how we should live. There isn't any difference. There's a difference between the salt and the pepper, but there's no difference when it comes to the color. It's all a seasoning, and we all have some to provide. We all have some to offer. So if you can't separate that salt and that pepper on that plate, then there isn't any reason to look at anybody that's a different color or anything like that and think any differently about them, right?
Yeah.
Amen. We're gonna put salt on the plate. We're gonna put some pepper on the plate. Now, Cody, I want you to separate the salt from the pepper and explain the difference.
How?
You can't. You can see the difference in color, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're all on the same plate, aren't we?
Yeah.
This is how we should live. There ain't any difference. There's a difference between the salt and the pepper, but there's no difference when it comes to the color. It's all a seasoning, and we all have some to provide. We all have some to offer. So if you can't separate that salt and that pepper on that plate, then there isn't any reason to look at anybody that's a different color or anything like that and think any differently about them, right?
Yeah.
Amen. We're gonna put salt on the plate. We're gonna put some pepper on the plate. Now, Kelly, I want you to separate the salt from the pepper and explain the difference.
How?
You can't. You can see the difference in color, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're all on the same plate, aren't we?
Yeah.
This is how we should live. There ain't any difference. There's a difference between the salt and the pepper, but there's no difference when it comes to the color. It's all a seasoning, and we all have some to provide. We all have some to offer. So if you can't separate that salt and that pepper on that plate, then there isn't any reason to look at anybody that's a different color or anything like that and think any differently about them, right?
Yeah.
Amen.
Hello and welcome everybody. I'm your host Ahmenu and today we have with me the Honourable David Harper, Dr. David Harper that is, and we're going to be discussing racism in today's topic and racism in general across the globe and the racist government policies and organisations and police racial profiling black people and other members of the public throughout the world and the planet, the racist police, and why it matters to be a certain colour, or why it doesn't matter, or why should it matter to be this colour to certain other people, and just our general thoughts on racism in general. So I'm going to be talking about these subjects and with Dr. David Harper. So yeah, how you feeling, Dr. David?
Yeah, I'm fine. How you feeling, Animal Sage?
Yes, Ahmenu. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. So yeah, I'd just like to say, my experience growing up in London with racism was one of those typical experiences. I mean, I hanged out with a group of friends when I was younger. We weren't really a gang. We was just a group of friends that came together and would hang with each other, you know what I mean, and play around and do what kids do. And when we got to like a certain age, like say about 9, 10, 11, 12, even maybe 13, 14, suddenly the police started coming in the picture and they would harass us from a young age, and they would try to arrest us for basic crimes that could have been dealt with there and then, but they felt the need to take us to the police station. This is the thing with the police. I don't want to get too much into the police discussion now because we're going to save that for the next discussion. But we did experience a lot of racism, and growing up with the white people in the country, they tend to keep to themselves. We tend to keep to ourselves, even though we did have white people growing up in our neighbourhood, which was similar, which was basically the hoods around London and hood areas and stuff like that. And so there was white people that we grew up with, and they were cool. I never experienced any racism from them sort of people. It was mainly the families and people from out of the hood areas. We'd go to certain areas on a train or a bus, or we'd go to certain dances and stuff. And I remember getting into fights with people over the colour of my skin. So this is something that's affected all of us, black people growing up in London, and it still affects us to this day, I think.
Yeah, what I'd like to say is, first of all, if you don't have any knowledge of where your ancestors come from, whether it be the West Indies, America, South America, Central America, Africa, Asia, if you don't have any trace of where your ancestors came from, and if you don't have even, say, a picture of the black prophets like Malachi Ziyuk or Elijah Muhammad or Louis Farrakhan or any of these people, then like you're gonna be lost. Then, and that's when you look in the mirror, you're not gonna like yourself, because all this racism is about it comes about through self-hate of yourself. And black people are not the only people that go through this. You've got Latin Americans selling drugs. You've got Caucasian people selling drugs on the street. You've got Chinese people with their disease, like COVID, and them selling drugs on the street to our children. You've got European, Turkish people, Arabs, Muslims. All these people, they come to collectively join an enterprise of drugs selling in the community.
Yeah.
This all came about because in Africa, we taught every race there is on this planet Earth and beyond the stars. We taught them history and mythological studies and all kind of different information. Before we were teaching them these, they were worse than monkeys. We took them out of the cave. So therefore, if at the top of the pyramid, which is Africa, our ancestors are black Nubian African ancestors, and at the bottom of the pyramid is a white man. If we allow the white man to dictate how we should live, where we should live, what food we should eat, and all these things, and what clothes we should wear, then it's back to square one. We need to dedicate to the whole community and the whole world how to live in harmony. Because you've got to remember that even in the Bible it says, in the beginning there was darkness. Therefore, if in the beginning was darkness, the first energy that you come across in the universe is darkness. And then he said, let there be light. So then the second creation was light. So you got to remember that, like Paul Marley said, God is a living man. He walks like a living man. He's a living man. He's not some dream that people created, like some white Jesus or Zeus or any kind of thing like that. He's a walking man. He's a black man, and what I'm saying is, the pyramids and everything, the whole world is watching to see who's gonna be the next teacher of this universe, of this galaxy that we're in. Because like the Honorable Marcus Garvey said, nobody, he said the strongest country in the world and the more powerful entity in the world will be those who have the most scientific information and power.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my perspective is, when it comes to racism, is that I know a lot of people, they tend to think of themselves as better than others, or there's, like you said, there's some sort of pecking order. And I hear what you're saying, and I agree with some of it still. And what you're saying does make sense, and you spoke it with complete clarity, David. But when it comes to racism, I don't understand why people care about the colour of another man's skin. Why does when I see a Chinese man walk past, or an Indian man walk past, or a Filipino man walk past, or a Polish man walk past, or a Brazilian man walk past, etc., why would I look at them and say, I don't like him because he's yellow, or because he's blue, or because he's pink, or because he's purple? Why would it matter to me, or should I say them, because it's not me with the issue? Why does it matter to them what colour another person's skin is? If you're comfortable in your own skin, and these people are promoting proudness for the colour of their own skin, if they're really that proud of their own skin, then they shouldn't be affected by what another man's skin looks like or culture looks like. Why does it matter to them? I'm not finishing. Why does it matter to them what another man's skin looks like? Why does it matter what this person down the road looks like, or skin? You can't control what colour they are. You didn't give birth to them. They didn't give birth to them. They're not their family members. They're not their relative. They're a different race. This is what these people need to understand. The universe is massive. We live in a massive universe full of solar systems and galaxies. Scattered across them galaxies and universes are different alien or different entities of race and forms of life. Now, the white man, he reaches out and sends signals across and satellites up in space to reach out to these alien life forms that are out there across the galaxy. But he can't even reason and come to some sort of mutual understanding and fair treatment of respect for the alien life forms that he has on his planet currently. But he wants to reach out to other alien life forms to do what? To oppress them? To call them nigger? To call them blue face, purple face, pink face, and treat them bad? They got to learn to live with the people that are on their planet first of all, before reaching out to other races and other planets and stuff like that. Because I can tell you one thing that is common sense and common knowledge. In space, there's going to be loads of different beings of all different colours and complexities. So if they can't as a race be at peace with the ones that they have on their own planet, then how are they going to handle these other alien life forms? Well, they're going to start calling them names and stuff and oppressing them. Because it's not going to be a very good reputation to have across the galaxy. So this is one thing that needs to be taken into consideration. These people need to learn how to live with other people and get on with people in a better fashion. Now, my beliefs about racism is that general racism in the country is that during the 90s, I think it had gone down for a little bit. It did actually get to a point where it was lowering, and people were starting to get on with each other, especially the younger generation, or our generation during that time was generally getting on with each other a bit more better, and people were coming together. Somewhere around the 2000s, something changed, and racism has just hit an all new high again. And it's like we're back in the 60s and 70s. And there's loads of things that are affecting us as a nation at the moment, and some of these things are things that could easily be addressed, and stuff that shouldn't even be existing now. Like, you think that people would evolve past these phobias and these. Obviously, I'm not saying you have to love everyone, but at least just have some common. They should have some common respect for people enough to just give them their space and not harass them for the color of their skin, and learn the simple fact of life, that everybody is made individual and unique, and that there are other life forms and races on the planet, and somehow we've got to find a way to live with each other and cope with each other. And I'm not saying be the best of friends and sing Kumbaya by the fire and hold hands. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying have some general respect for people and leave them alone and stop harassing them for the color of their skin, and accept the fact that this universe is greater than this planet, and that there are life forms scattered throughout the whole of the universe. And in the bigger picture of things, we're just one race on the planet across the universe. So they got to learn. They got a long way to grow, but they're still growing as a people. And it'll be good to see in future if things do change. But for now, the way things are, they are at an all-time low. We have reached a low point, and I'll say we went through a golden age in the 90s and 80s, and maybe late 70s. But now we've gone back into the dark ages. And when you go into the dark ages, what comes with that is things like flu, famine, disease, illness, racism, civil war. These things come when there's a dark age. So I feel like we're going into a dark age during the sun cycle, and it's ultimately corrupting the planet on a greater scale. But that's another video. But yeah, so do you want to give your quick thoughts, David, for this subject in general, racism?
It starts about racism. Racism, I would say, came about when the continental drift. So I think basically when there was a shift in the planet, and I think it was the moon that crashed into the planet Earth and created a shift in the planet. And what happened is the land started to become not as one but separate, and as a result of that, we developed different cultures from one another and different relationships. It's like in the Bible when you talk about the Tower of Babel. They tried to build heaven, building all the way up to the sky. And when God came down to find out what was going on, he realized that they were speaking one language. So he separated the one language, separated everyone, so they wouldn't speak one language, so they would speak different languages. And in a way, that story is what happened in Africa, because Africa means separate, and Africa actually comes from a name of I think a war kind of sergeant major who fought in Africa, a European man. So the true names of and the true languages that we speak in Africa, we need to go back to them kind of languages, because it's all in the word. Like I said to you before, in the Bible it talks, it says in the beginning was the word. So obviously it's the language. Everything has phonetics and sounds. Stones, elements, cars, they all vibrate on a certain frequency. And like the music we're listening to now, it's crazy. It's I don't know how long it can go on for, because it's just going on faster and faster and faster. And there's no kind of consciousness in the music no more in our children and teenagers' life.
I quote, "I believe that South Africa is a country in which black and white shall live together." Those are your words. What does it mean?
It means that I, and those gentlemen in the dock, believe that South Africa is a plural society with contributions to be made by all segments of the community.
Are you familiar with the language in some of these documents the accused have discussed with black groups?
Yes, and some of those documents were drawn out by me.
The one noting with concern and disgust the naked terrorism of the government?
That is correct.
You say naked terrorism. Do you honestly think that is a valid statement?
Well, I think it is a far more valid statement than the charges against these men here.
Really?
Yes, really. I'm not talking about words. I'm talking about the violence in which people are beaten on charge by police, beaten up. I'm talking about police firing on unarmed people. I'm talking about the indirect violence you get through starvation in the townships. I'm talking about the hopelessness, the desolation of the transit camps. Now I think that, all put together, that constitutes more terrorism than the words these men have spoken here, but they stand charged. And white society is not charged.
When you and others in black consciousness speak, you say, our true leaders have been banned and imprisoned on Robben Island. Who are you referring to specifically?
Specifically, we refer to people like Mandela, Sobukwe, people like Govan Mbeki.
And is it not true that the common factor with these people is that they have advocated violence against the South African government?
The common factor with these people is that they have selflessly pushed forward the struggle of the black man.
So, your answer to this so-called naked terrorism is to provoke violence in the black community.
No, our movement seeks to avoid violence.
But your own words call for direct confrontation.
That's right. We demand confrontation.
Isn't that a demand for violence?
Well, you and I are now in confrontation, but I see no violence.
But nowhere in these documents do you say that the white government is doing anything good?
Well, it does so little good, my lord, that it is not worth commenting on.
But surely that approach inflames racial hatred and anti-whiteism.
My lord, blacks are not unaware of the hardships they endure, or what the government is doing to them. We want them to stop accepting these hardships, to confront them. People must not just give in to the hardships of life. They must find a way, even in this environment, to develop hope. Hope for themselves, hope for this country. Now I think that is what black consciousness is all about. Now, without any reference to the white man, to try and build up a sense of our own humanity.
Yeah, basically I would like to say that the police have been found out to be a racist, institutionally racist organization. And this goes back to Mark Duggan, a good friend of mine and a good community leader. He was gunned down and shot down by police. There was no gun found in the cab that he was occupying, but they said he had a gun, and that caused a riot all throughout the whole world. And these things, there hasn't been much behavior, gun behaviors in the community in Tottenham and in Hungary and around London and the UK, I would say. And this is because the police are using technologies to lock down on drugs and to lock down on robberies and crime by black people in the community. They're using, they've been given this technology by companies like NASA, SPIMA, UN, United Nations, and other government officials to basically make, because we understand, the police are not, they don't care no more about what's going on in the streets. They don't care no more. because they know that there's something, there's something, the universe is changing. So they're trying to change with the universe, but the Mother Nature is not happy with police and all these government organizations, because all they're doing is killing off all the people of the world and in the universe. Yeah. So all this racism, those who are racist, they're ignorant. They haven't got no sense. The police, they know who we are. They know that black people don't come from this world. That black people were brought here by slavery, and they no other race has such conscious awareness apart from the black race. That's why they love the Indian man, the Chinese man, and all different kind of races they love, but they hate the black man. I'll just leave it at that anyway. I haven't got much to say, to be honest.
Okay, so the first thing I'd like to say is something that I spoke about earlier when I said that from a young age, I remember the police were profiling us and stopping searching us, and we would get stopped. So this happens all over the world, but I'm going to talk about that later. My main focus is the UK for this part of the video. So in the UK, most kids, their first encounter with the police is when they're a young child. They're either stopped by the police for stealing something to eat, or it could be a bike or something small, some sort of petty crime, and that's their first general experience of the police. The police just watching them, pulling them over, searching them, and they don't set a good example of being a police officer. That most of them drive around in cars all day, stopping people in cars, and they never seem to care about any of the crime that's on the pavement. And all they do is stop young people. This is why young people don't have no respect for the police, because the police have disrespected them. And yeah, they've done their job, they're just doing their job, but there's a certain way they could do it a bit more subtle than that. You know what I mean? And sort of bring certain young people in the police station, handle the situation there and then with some form of punishment. There's plenty of ways they could handle it. So they get targeted by the police at a young age, and they generally build up a disliking to the police from young. And a lot of black people are being killed by the police in the UK, and some of it is not being covered. There's a lot of people that have black people that have police monitoring them in their homes, from poisoning them to outright murdering them in the streets or in their homes. And a lot of this is happening, and people are being stopped. And I know that the government is at the same time got a scheme that's going to be coming into play, where they've been training over a certain thousand amount of new police officers that are skilled at combat and skilled at various different skills. And I know they're going to be deploying them into the UK at some point over the next few years. So there's going to be an increase of the amount of police that are going to be on the streets. So that's another thing that we've got to be conscious of as black people. Also, I like to talk about the governments, and the government don't seem to have much. They don't have much care when it comes to when it comes to black people in the community, and ways how they can help to build up black people. And there are a lot of black organizations that are working with young black men and black people in the community to help them. But then they come out of these organizations and then they're profiled by the police again. And I know there are a lot of racist organizations targeting black men out there, and even Asian families, black and Asian families being targeted by racist organizations that are just maleficent and benevolent, that have pure hatred in them for the black man, and just want to see them either dead or in prison. So as a black man, you have to be very careful. It's almost like you're a soldier in a battlefield. Like, this is why the black man has a soldier mentality, why he always seems a bit uptight and aggressive, because we're taught to be like that. We grow up with getting chased by police, getting into fights for over the colour of our skin, and being oppressed and treated bad with negativity. So we end up turning negative ourselves. So this is a lot of what's happening in the community, and the police don't seem to be doing anything. They seem to be the culprits and silently promoting this sort of behaviour, and silently affecting certain black people within the community. So I don't really trust the police, and to be honest, I don't think I ever would trust the police, and I don't see any of the black people trusting the police in future, or any other cultures for that matter. So I don't think that's going to change. But yeah, man, so this is just something that's going on continuously on the planet at the moment, man. You just can't trust the police. So we're going to move on to the next talk. But yeah, if you ask me, you can't trust the police. I wouldn't trust them. And if you've got a video camera when they're stopping you, make sure you pull out your video camera and record them, because they will be recording you. Pull out your video camera, record them when they stop you. Ask them if you're being detained or if you're under arrest. If they can't tell you if you're under arrest or being detained, you can walk away. You have the right to. I mean, as long as you got on camera them saying that they're not answering that you're not under arrest or being detained, or saying that you're not under arrest or being detained, you can walk away. They can't do a thing. So it's good that everyone knows their rights when it comes to the police and dealing with them, because they will use a lot of tricks to get to you. So yeah, man, stay careful out there, people.
When a black billionaire meets a white billionaire, do you think there's any racism? Do you think they care? He's a billionaire, I'm a billionaire, both our yachts are in Monaco. He's from Algeria, he stole all the gold. I'm a stock market whatever. There's no racism. The racism's for the poor people. Because if you keep the poor people divided, they can't wake up long enough to do what I did and read about how money works. Because if they do that, we're got big trouble, right? Then the slaves will wake up. You don't want to deprogram the slaves. So you have to convince the slaves that it's not the monetary system's fault that you're broke. It's not the monetary system's fault that you continue to work for a set number of dollars and the price of houses just keep going up and up and up. It's not the monetary system's fault. It's the white man's fault, or the black man's fault, or the Asian people's fault. It's someone else's fault. I think all this stuff, feminism, racism, all these things, I think they're all control mechanisms. They have to keep the poor people fighting amongst each other, because if the poor people all unite, then it's much harder to control us. When a black billionaire meets a white billionaire, do you think there's any racism? Do you think they care? He's a billionaire, I'm a billionaire, both our yachts are in Monaco. He's from Algeria, he stole all the gold. I'm a stock market whatever. There's no racism. The racism's for the poor people. Because if you keep the poor people divided, they can't wake up long enough to do what I did and read about how money works. Because if they do that, we're got big trouble, right? Then the slaves will wake up. You don't want to deprogram the slaves. So you have to convince the slaves that it's not the monetary system's fault that you're broke. It's not the monetary system's fault that you continue to work for a set number of dollars and the price of houses just keep going up and up and up. It's not the monetary system's fault. It's the white man's fault, or the black man's fault, or the Asian people's fault. Someone else's fault. I think all this stuff, feminism, racism, all these things, I think they're all control mechanisms. They have to keep the poor people fighting amongst each other, because if the poor people all unite, then it's much harder to control us. When a black billionaire meets a white billionaire, do you think there's any racism? Do you think they care? He's a billionaire, I'm a billionaire, both our yachts are in Monaco. He's from Algeria, he stole all the gold. I'm a stock market whatever. There's no racism. The racism's for the poor people. Because if you keep the poor people divided, they can't wake up long enough to do what I did and read about how money works. Because if they do that, we're got big trouble, right? Then the slaves will wake up. You don't want to deprogram the slaves. So you have to convince the slaves that it's not the monetary system's fault that you're broke. It's not the monetary system's fault that you continue to work for a set number of dollars and the price of houses just keep going up and up and up. It's not the monetary system's fault. It's the white man's fault, or the black man's fault, or the Asian people's fault. Someone else's fault. I think all this stuff, feminism, racism, all these things, I think they're all control mechanisms. They have to keep the poor people fighting amongst each other, because if the poor people all unite, then it's much harder to control us.
Yeah, so we're back with our discussion after a short intermission, and we're going to be talking about racism across the globe in general, racism in the world, so different countries and what it's like to experience racism in there. So I'd like to start with America. Now, America is known for high levels of racism. There's so much racism in America, so much oppression out there, so much hatred, so much division. It's unbelievable, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. So, yeah, but that's not to say that you can't discuss it or something shouldn't be done about it. I mean, I've seen videos of white American women telling Mexicans to go back home to their own country. Now, last time I checked, Mexico is within the Americas, which is connected to America. So it goes without saying that at some point there were probably Mexicans in America, in the main part of America, and there still are probably that were there. So Mexicans being in America before the white Americans, how can a white American say to a Mexican, go back home to your country, when they are home in their country? So when I heard that, I was disgusted, and I just thought, you know what, man, that is a piss take still, man. That's like the Australians, white Australians, saying to the Aborigines, go home to your own country, or something like that. That don't make sense. So when I heard that, I just thought, wow, we really come that far along with life that people can tell natives of a country to go home to their own country when they're already home in their country. So yeah, that disgusted me when I heard that, man. I mean, you see a lot of American people experiencing racism, like from different people, soldiers attacking young kids, and you got the KKK out there, and you got various different factions, racist factions out there. It's very serious living in America. You have to watch your back, and at any moment racial tension can build up, and there's a lot of racial tension out there at the moment. So yeah, man. Also in the UK, there's a lot of racial tension building up at the moment. I've noticed that there's been more and more racial tension building up in the UK, especially along with this Black Lives Matter thing going on, which I don't really think makes sense, because for you to be protesting that Black Lives Matter, you're saying that basically it's something to be protested. It's not even something to be protested. It matters. You don't have to protest and say that it matters. It matters whether you protest it or not. So when you start protesting Black Lives Matter, you're basically saying that it don't matter. It don't matter, and it needs to matter. It matters already. All it is it don't matter to some certain people, but then people they're gonna see how much we know that it matters, and we'll make them know that it matters, innit, in our own way. So, but yeah, man. And I remember when I was younger, I went to Spain with my parents when I was younger, and I think I was about 13, maybe 14 years old, roughly around that age. And my parents were at the hotel, and I asked them if I could go to the shop to get something from the shop. There was something I wanted in there, so I left the hotel room and I made my way to the shop by myself. And I walked down the street, which is not that far to the shop, and I know that there's a beach somewhere nearby. There's a beach. I took a trip to the beach, and then I quickly walked back to the shop, and then on my way back to the hotel now, I see a group of Spanish kids playing. And maybe it was me being out of order. I shouldn't really approach them, but I was curious, and I saw them playing with I think it was firecrackers. like them little banger things, innit, where you light them and they bang. So I watched them throwing them, and I was amused by them, and they had like some laser pen. They were shooting like lasers at them. I remember thinking, I really want one of them laser pens and some of them bangers. So one of the Spanish kids, he was cool. He saw me looking and getting excited over their bangers, and he said, "Would you like to bang one?" I said, "Yeah, please." And he gave me about 7 bangers, and I lit them, and then they banged, and then one of them came up to me and said, F off, negro, basically nigger, innit? And then I said to him, "Don't speak to me like that." And I got into a fight with him, and I handled my business. And then I went back to the hotel, and I remember just sitting in my hotel room. And then my parents saying, we're going to go for dinner later on in the night. We're going to go for a meal. And I remember my mum saying, "Why do you look upset? You look upset for some reason." And I never told her it was because some Spanish kid just called me a nigger or anything like that. So, I mean, I have experienced racism abroad a few times. I've had people just staring at me, looking at me like, "What are you doing here?" Just generally surprised. But there are places I've been to where people have been happy to see me in a country. I remember, I think it was Turkey or Greece or one of them countries, I'm not too sure. And they say some people from Turkey or Greece could be racist or in the UK, but when I went to actual Turkey or Greece, I didn't experience no racism out there. People were actually good to me. And I remember I had my hair in plaits at the time, long plaits and cane rolls. And I had my hair in long plaits, and they was coming up to me, touching my hair out there and saying, "Oh, I love your hair." And some of the women were coming up to me, touching my hair, saying, "I love your hair, you got really nice hair." And then one of them wanted to take a picture, taking pictures of me. And I remember they was calling me Rude Gullit, the football player. And I generally got a good experience from them. So there are times I've been abroad, and it was similar when I went to Hong Kong and Spain. Hong Kong and Thailand. So I've been to quite a few countries, and there are some countries that have experienced minor racism, but there are some countries where they was actually okay to me, and they treated me good, and they never made me feel uncomfortable. Yeah, they used to look. You're always going to get people looking because you're not from that country, so people are generally going to look, and it's something that you've got to get used to. But my perspective on racism is that everyone is different, everyone is unique. We all come from our own walks of life. We're all made individual. Nobody is exactly the same, whether they're the same color or not. Everyone has something that's different about them. So if we can grow as a people and realize and understand the fact that everyone is different and unique, and that there are other people that live among us that have different color skins to us, different color hair, different color eyes, different color ways and customs. As long as we can learn to respect these customs and ways, and to the point where we can get along with each other, or to even just coexist with each other, we'll be growing massively and leveling up in terms of race and people on the planet. And then we can then prepare to look out of the planet into space, and then start seeking other cultures and civilizations across the galaxy. We can't travel across the galaxy, or people can't travel across the galaxy without sorting out their issues that they have with people of different race and color within their own planet that they live in. So maybe they should sort out their problems, their issues that they have with people on the planet before seeking the stars. That's all I like to say.
Our African brothers have gained their independence faster than you and I here in America have. They've also gained recognition and respect as human beings much faster than you and I. just 10 years ago on the African continent, our people were colonized. They were suffering all forms of colonization, oppression, exploitation, degradation, humiliation, discrimination, and every other kind of Asian. And in a short time, they have gained more independence, more recognition, more respect as human beings than you and I have. And you and I live in a country which is supposed to be the citadel of education, freedom, justice, democracy, and all of those other pretty sounding words. We want freedom by any means necessary. We want justice by any means necessary. We want equality by any means necessary. We don't feel that in 1964, living in a country that is supposedly based upon freedom and supposedly the leader of the free world, we don't think that we should have to sit around and wait for some segregationist congressmen and senators and a president from Texas in Washington, D.C. to make up their mind that our people are due now some degree of civil rights. No, we want it now, or we don't think anybody should have it.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
In order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough. And it is because of our effort toward getting straight to the root that people oftentimes think we are dealing in hate.
We are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you? And I, for one, as a Muslim, believe that the white man is intelligent enough. If he were made to realize how black people really feel, and how fed up we are without that old compromising sweet talk. Stop sweet talking. Tell him how you feel. Tell him what kind of hell you've been catching, and let him know that if he's not ready to clean his house up, if he's not ready to clean his house up, he shouldn't have a house. It should catch on fire and burn down.
So yeah, we're back after another short admission from Malcolm X, one of the late greats of our people. And yeah, you're listening to the Ahmenu Sage TV channel, Nubian Kingz 144 production, BlackDragon television. I'm your host, Ahmenu Sage. We're gonna get into this teaching and this message I have for you. Now, I want to talk about black men dressing up as women for money. Black men dressing up as women for money. Have you ever heard such a flop in your life? Such a degenerate idiot, a monkey, a coon, a fool, straight reject, clown, a mascot. Not even a mascot, because mascots represent a team. These people, they're not really a part of no team. They're just like rejects, and they get used a lot for foolishness. So yeah, black men dressing up as women for money. Now, I don't know why the black man want to dress up as a woman for money. Are you easily so bored? Are you that desperate for money that you would ridicule yourself, make a fool out of yourself across all nations on the planet, and portray us as weak, feeble, feminine, idiot men? You give the other black men who are not so masculine, but at least yet they have the common sense to not dress up as a woman, and the masculine black men look like fools. You're making us all look like fools. And to be honest, we're tired of you. We're tired of you men, black men dressing up as women. We're tired of you. Don't even come back to the black race again, man. You're not a part of the black race, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. I don't know why you dress up. Why would you dress up as a woman for money? You got famous celebrities out there wearing skirts, carrying handbags, wearing scarves with their head, around their head, looking like an old granny. Why would you look like this? Why would you dress up as a young black man, or in your prime? Why would you dress up as an old granny with a skirt and a scarf around your head and a scarf around your neck? That's what you're dressed as, an old granny. Niggas is dressing as old grannies out there, like wearing blatant gay handbags. Not that there's anything I don't really have that much against gay people per se, but when it's my people, I've got something to say about it. I don't care. If the white man wants to dress up in a skirt and wear a handbag and a scarf around his head, that's up to him, innit? That's his people, and it's none of my business. When I see my own people doing it now, and I'm seeing loads of them doing it, and you've got for something called morals, things that is right and wrong. It doesn't matter what you say, if it's okay to be gay and be this and that. Some things is wrong, period. If it was right, we'd be taught to, we would have been teaching these things in our schools to children from way back when. But as it goes, things is getting looser, teachers are getting looser, and getting subjected to this beast mentality. And they're now starting to begin to teach some of the younger children of these homo tendencies and homo behaviors, and trying to get it produced in our children to turn them into fags and queers by the time they're adult. So yeah, man, I don't know why the black man is dressing up as a woman for money. Is money that important that you would sell out your own strength, of yourself, of our people, We have an image where we have a strong image. Black people, we're portrayed. We are strong people, but we're portrayed as strong people. Our image has always been strong. It's always been strong. From our athletes to our sports players, to us generally as a people, alone to be athletic and very strong built individuals. We have an image of strength. And that image is being destroyed by these same black men dressing up as women. You're making us look weak. You're making us look weak. You're making us look weak. And not only are you making us look weak, but you're corrupting our sons. You're corrupting our sons. We got children, young young teenagers that are growing up trying to find themselves in the world, trying to figure out who they are and what they want to be. And you influencing them to be old grannies and skirt wearing hippies and something. I don't know, man. To me, it's just kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird. If you don't think it's weird for you to dress up as an old granny with a headscarf and a skirt, you don't think wearing a skirt is it weird? Is not weird? Then there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. Half of you celebrities out there, you're getting a lot of money, more money than normal people. Do you really need that extra money just to wear a skirt? Is it really that worth it, like dressing up as a woman just for a little bit extra money? I know why you're doing it. Some of you are doing it for the money, and some of you are doing it out of fear. You're afraid that the white man is gonna penalize you and come down on you and start attacking you, and that's why you're dressing up as a woman for money, out of cowardice and greed. Put an end to that, man. Put an end to that. That's all I can say about that. I don't want to talk about the subject, man. It's making me sick, man. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the term black. The term black. The label black. The people that are black. The term black is putting us in a dead label. It's putting us in a dead label. And the reason why I say the term black is putting us in a dead label is because as we've been calling ourselves black people for a while now, we've been calling ourselves black people. And all it's done is cursed us. All it's done is put us in a category that is at the bottom of the pyramid. It's like calling ourselves black people has cursed us. It's giving us a curse. Where everything we do, we're struggling to succeed. Just to even label black is making us fail in all the things that we're doing and keeping us under a certain spell. Because you see the power of names. When it comes to names and writing and letters and alphabet, they hold power. Names hold power. It's like, for instance, when you name your child a certain name, the meaning of that name holds power to that child. Sorry, excuse me. The meaning of that name holds power to the child and ultimately affects the personality of the child or the outcome of what the child is going to be like, or the powers and skills that it possesses. The names are very powerful. They have meaning and they have influence and they hold power. So by the black people calling themselves black people, it's decreasing our power, decreasing our ability and having an effect on us that is darkening our light that we possess. We are solar beings. We carry that light, that UV light, that solar ray within us to attract the sun. We're nothing to do with no black or nothing like that. We're light beings. And we attract light, different colours of light, and from different spectrums. This is why we come in all different colours. This is why a rainbow has all different colours, because it has all different colours of light spectrums. We are connected to those spectrums of light, and always have been. Lights and colours have different effects on us. We see them more vivid than most cultures on the planet. We're able to see the 5 different colours and different textures. We ourselves come in with different 5 colours and textures of light. Now look at the colour of your skin. It doesn't matter what colour black you are, whether you're light black. There's no such thing as really light black. You can't have light black. Black is black. There's no light black. If you're brown, yellow, or copper colour skin, or orange, or even red skin, look at the colour of your skin and then put something black that is the actual colour black and compare it to your skin colour and tell me if you're black then. We just stop labelling ourselves as black, man. Nobody's black out here, man. Nobody's black. There are some races though. There are some people that are black, actually black. But they're rare to find those people. I know they're not the same race as me, so we're not black. These people that you find going underneath that category are living a repetitive life, going through the same problems and cycles that they always go through, and never really progress into anything. And the only way they can progress to anything is by either selling their soul, or becoming a sellout, or making a fool of themselves in some kind of fashion or another, or turning against or murdering their own people. That is the only way the black man can be successful in this world and society that we live in. Hanging on to the term black and describing ourselves as the black race is crippling our people. It's time we move on to a brighter way of life. Now, I listen to Nubian and Kingz, and he describes us as the bright race. I like the sound of that bright race. It has a better meaning and a better feel to it, and probably ultimately a better outcome in the world. So yeah, maybe it's time we give ourselves a different identity, because this identity isn't working for us. And at the end of the day, we was given this identity by the white man, and it's not what we call ourselves. Maybe we've lost track of what we would have called ourselves. But I know we wouldn't call ourselves black, because for one, we didn't have the word black in our language. This is a white man's word, and it's not how we should describe ourselves as people. We need to figure out a new name for our own people and stick to this name, the new name that we come up with, because black is dead. Now, the next thing I'd like to move on to is starting a better, closer, and safer community for our people. We need to start a safer and better community and a closer community for our people. Because if you look at the black man now, yeah, and the black woman, and black families, we don't really say hello to each other. It's like when another black person sees another black person walking down the street, we always do this thing where we've got to make eye contact, and we've got to look each other in the face to see who looks away first, trying to show our dominance to each other. All that needs to be put to bed, man. People that are still doing that, then people are dead, man. There's no place for them in the future. There's no place for them in the future. If you're staring at your own people as they're walking down the street and waiting for them to look away first, you're still doing that in 2023. Good night, goodbye, go to sleep. We don't want you in our race no more, man. All these sort of degenerate ways of life and thinking need to be put to bed. It's 2023. We need to come closer as a community and as a people in general, and have some sort of community with each other, where we look out for one another, and protect each other, and support each other. And when we see another black person, whether it be a man or a woman or a boy or a girl or an old person in trouble, we assist them in any way we can, and we support each other, and we don't call the police on each other, depending on what the situation is. If it's a murder, obviously it's a bit different, but we don't really call the police on each other, and we don't kill each other, more importantly. We need to have some sort of code and unity with each other, where we come together as a collective and help and support each other, whether it be black businesses or like youth clubs and organisations, black organisations and stuff like that. Support each other in the community a bit more. You know what I mean? Start looking out for one another, for another a bit better than what we're doing. Because we're starting to go backwards in the sense that we're not looking out for each other properly. You know what I mean? We're murdering our own brothers and sisters. Some people are murdering their own brothers and sisters for money. Some people are murdering their own brothers and sisters because they believe it's the only choice that they have left, and that there's no other choice, and that the world is caving in on them, and they need to do something in order to survive. All that is an illusion. It's a state of mind that they keep you in to push you to the edge, where you feel like you've got to take a life in order to survive. All that is an illusion and a form of hypnotism and corruption and misleading, and ultimately will lead to your failure in life, or becoming a god one day, a supreme being, able to leave the heavens and travel through the galaxy at will, which is the ultimate goal. Sadly, some of them were failed and become devils and succumb to the beast mentality, and are now trapped on this planet permanently with no hopes of no real future, destined to die and be judged. We need to stop killing our own brothers and sisters and murdering each other, and stop selling out our people for money. You know what I mean? You got black people selling out their own people for money, calling the police for their own people for money, setting up their own people for money, murdering their own people for money, robbing their own people for money. Stop doing that. These sort of people, we don't want these people in our community no more. It's the brighter race of people. And I use that word bright strongly because, like I said, the black race is dead. And it's known amongst our communities that this is a dying race, man. And I was once a part of it. I don't label myself as that no more. So yeah, we need to stop selling out our people for money. There's no amount of money that you should accept where you're selling out your people. If you're gonna rob someone, rob the person that's trying to make you sell out for money. The person that's trying to make you sell out for money, rob their money. But you don't have to sell out for no money. You can just rob them. I mean, do something in the name of your people. We need to heal our mentality from the slave mentality. At the moment, we've got a lot of black people out there that got that slave mentality. They're scared to look the white man in the eye and tell him what he thinks. They're scared to speak their mind. They're scared to admit that admit their color, what color they are. They're scared to talk about certain things to do with the black community and issues that are arising, they're generally scared because they've been oppressed so much, and they've witnessed people being oppressed and murdered so much that it's made them afraid, and some of them are staying in their homes, some of them are just staying outside low key, and they're scared to come out and move about because of the level of oppression. So we need to heal our mentality from the slave mentality, and to do this we need to start getting stronger, exercising more, reading more books and filling ourselves with knowledge, connecting with our own people a bit more, and offering them therapeutic ways to heal themselves, running our own therapy groups where we discuss certain things in our life that have affected us and how we can move past these issues and situations that have affected us. We need stuff like this. We need stuff like this, you know what I mean? Things like organizations and groups where people can come and talk, where black people can come and talk about their past traumas and learn ways to heal from them. And I know there are a lot of groups out there, but they're not getting enough publicity. They need to start advertising their groups, their organizations a bit more, handing out more leaflets to black people, so more people can find out about these organizations. You never hear about these organizations promoting themselves properly, fully promoting themselves to other people out there, to other black people, in order to get some sort of help for themselves. It's always kept quiet or hush hush, and no one really knows about these organizations. So yeah, we need more of that. It's being exposed at the moment. You know what I mean? More opportunities for support would be good. Also, people are watching too much degenerate black programs. When I say degenerate black programs, I mean things like movies, black hood movies, soaps, that sort of thing, like just programs where the black man is acting like fools, man. Just acting like fools, man. So we gotta be conscious of how we portray ourselves in front of other nations and how we put ourselves in the typical stereotype and behavior that is making us look stupid and making us lose respect. You know what I mean? All these black degenerate programs that are going on, and the way it's making us portray ourselves. I mean, you've got black people, I mean, things like black people selling drugs and shotting and wearing their pants half off their arse, halfway off their bottom. You know what I mean? And just their general behaviour in public and the way they portray themselves in public. All black people, some black people, they are quite elegant. A lot of black people are. But you always got them ones that every time they step out of the house, they've got to wear a hood. They always got to wear a hood. You never see them without a hood when they're outside. They always got that. They always got the mandem jacket on. You know, the typical mandem jacket, black, with some lines going across it. Typical mandem jacket. And now I'm starting to see niggas wearing some fucking woman's jacket. Back in the days, I've seen guys wearing that long mandem jacket that comes down to past their knees. And it don't look baggy, like puffy, like a puffer jacket, a big massive long puffer jacket. It's like some long thin jacket with lines going across it that covers past their knees. And back in the days, that sort of jacket was worn by the girls. That was what the women used to wear in my generation growing up. I'm seeing niggas wearing fucking women's jackets and women's handbags and all this stuff, like gay stuff that's going on. Why are niggas wearing women's jackets and you wear skinny ass tight jeans that don't even fit you properly? You're just making a black man look bad. You're making a black man look bad. Our image is very important. The way we look is very important. The way we carry ourselves is very important. The whole world is watching us. The whole world is watching us at the moment, watching to see how we behave, watching to see how we respond. And they're trying to wear and tear at us, and pick at us and pick at us, and corrupt us and fool us and hypnotize us to the point where we no longer know who we are or what we are, where we came from, our history. We don't think about the future. All we care about is material stuff that doesn't really matter. And we focus all our energy and time onto them things. And we should be focusing on the future. But yeah, man, how we portray ourselves is very important. You know what I mean? Because there's a stereotypical version of the black man. That he always seems to be this gangbanger, drug pusher. You know what I mean? Murder, rap music, drill artists, all that crap. You know what I mean? It's a stereotypical version of the black man that they're pushing out. And you see it in a lot of films, you see it being pushed in a lot of films, a lot of programs. So maybe celebrities are out there pushing this sort of way of life, and it's not healthy for our children. If you've got children, and you will have if you ain't got children, you will have children one day. And you're gonna come to the realization, all these things that are glorifying, these degenerate ways and programming and behaviors, coon behaviors, and you know, I mean, just foolishness that you're carrying on with. You're gonna look back one day and say, I was a fool for doing that. I was a fool for wearing that. I was a fool for behaving like that. I could have handled it this way. I could have took a breath and thought about what I was doing, what I was saying before opening up my mouth. You know what I mean? Niggas is fucking acting like the niggas that they see on these films. Them niggas in them films, they all end up dead or in prison. They all end up dead or in prison, G. And the ones that make it, they barely just make it. They only made it because it's the film. If they want the film, they wouldn't have made it. Their arse would have been dead or in prison as well. So don't get twisted about this get rich or die trying crap. Don't get twisted with all that crap there, man. There's legitimate ways to make money. And when you make money legit, they can't do nothing to your money. They can't take what you've built. When you build an empire out of wood, they can just, anytime the government want, they could come and burn your empire down. But when you build your empire out of concrete, brick, and stone and metal, it's harder for them to burn it down. Basically, the foundations of your empire is built off honesty, hard work, legitimate money and software and products and materials. They can't burn it down, and you feel better yourself as well knowing that you're doing something legit. You feel better, man. You feel better, man. There's something about that dirty money that just makes you feel dirty, bro. You feel dirty. You look at the money like it's not even your money, like you robbed it or something. Even if you earned it, you sold all the drugs, and you made that money, you still feel like you fucking stole the money or something, because it's not been earned properly. So we've got to look at the way we portray ourselves, man, and the way people look at us and see us, man, because the whole world is watching us at the moment. So yeah, that's what I gotta say about that one. Next, I want to talk about slavery being over and never allowing this to happen again. We need to make sure as black people that we never allow slavery to happen again. We don't allow this to happen again. Because any minute, yeah, these white people can just turn crazy, you know? They can just turn crazy and lose their mind. I think, yeah, we're gonna make the black people slaves again, or try and make us slaves or force us to do this or do that. They're unpredictable, man. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna beat around the bush on this channel, man. Telling how it is, but you know what I mean? The fact they done that in the first place shows they could do it again. So we need to make sure that slavery never happens again. That means building organizations, coming together in groups, and looking after ourselves and our people, and thinking and planning ahead. We need to build more organizations and get more organized. When I say organizations, I mean black parties, black political parties, black organizations that help other black people, black support groups, black shops, black parks, black everything, man. Or should I say bright? For our people to take place in, you know what I mean? We need to build more organizations. Whether it be churches, buildings, you know what I mean? Trade within trade companies. You know what I mean? Our own neighborhood watch. It would be good if we had our own neighborhood watch. You stay there, man. These white people, they got their neighborhood watch. These Jewish people, they got their neighborhood watch. These Asian people, they got their neighborhood watch. They all got their own version of neighborhood watch. We're the only ones that don't have our own version of neighborhood watch. We've got the hood watch, where in certain areas where people are shooting, they're watching that little circle area. But these neighborhood watches, they run throughout the whole country as one group. We need to start a group where we've got our own sort of version of neighborhood watch, where we watch for things that affect us. It doesn't have to be necessarily just about crime, it could be things that affect the black man. And watch out for those things that affect the black man and report back to each other on those situations and share information back and forth to each other. So we need our own version of neighborhood watch, would be good to have. And I'd like to talk about the future of black people, of the black race, or should I say bright race. In the future, I'd like to see black people uniting together, working together, having, like I said before, organizations and being organized, not murdering each other, not robbing each other, not screwing each other every time they walk past each other, saying hello to each other when they see each other on the street, helping older black people if they need help with something, supporting the younger black people, just being more at peace with each other, you know what I mean? And let's fight in amongst ourselves. So that'd be good to see in the future. If black people can start, to just be a bit more peaceful when it comes to each other and be concerned about the future. And it would be also good if we can cultivate some sort of land, like a large piece of land, and start our own city, cities. I'm talking about cities abroad that are designed by people that live in the country, but the people that are like in America and England, that have made it, that have made men, that have some sort of money, to go back to Africa, Brazil, Jamaica, Haiti, somewhere, Australia, wherever, and South America, wherever, and cultivate the land, build a city, build houses, build a way of life, somewhere for our people to live, because a lot of people, they're fed up of staying in the country that they're in, and a lot of people are wishing and hoping to leave the country that they're in and move abroad somewhere and start a new life, because they've outgrown the countries that they're in. They feel like they've outgrown the country that they're in, and there's too much badness and wickedness happening around them, and they've realized that that way of life is not for them, and they want to come back to their roots, but they don't want to just come back to any old country, black country. They want to go somewhere that's got proper community, proper values, proper way of life, proper teachings, proper customs, proper unity, close community, somewhere like that for us to go back to. And it'll be good to see if the black people can start building their army up, and who knows, probably, hopefully, their own space program. We need to start a space program. We need to start thinking about the stars, traveling into space, So I'd like to see more black inventors. It would be good if someone could start a program that recruits black inventors and gives them all the tools that they need to start inventing and keeps the technology for the black community. So we need more people inventing and start looking towards the stars. And not just towards the stars, but outwards. Not just upwards, but outwards. Because outwards, there's much more lands to be conquered. And the white man, he's conquering these lands. While we're just sitting in the same spot, in the same country, in the same borough, in the same town, thinking about material stuff of that town and the small little minor things that don't even matter. And we're not seeing the bigger picture. We're not thinking out of the universe or out of the world that we're in, or out of the country that we're in. We're thinking small time, and we were once galactic universal beings that travelled across the stars and distance, and had concerns to do with black matters, to do with various planets. We've turned into a very incapable bunch of people. It's because of our lack of practice, our lack of creativity. We have creativity, but we're not creating in the things that we should be creating in. We need to start getting scientific, doing our own research and our own studies into things, and learning about stuff, and putting that research into categories where we can then teach or build our own things that will benefit us. So yeah, we need to start building and teaching, building and teaching, building, teaching and researching. Those are the key things, 3 key things we need. 4 actually: building, teaching, researching and unity. Those are the 4 things that we need. That should be our slogan: building, teaching, researching and unity. That's the 4 things that black people need to work on, and it will improve our lives massively if we can work on them areas. Now, I was going to say, what can we do to better ourselves? There's a lot we can do to better ourselves, and if we can better ourselves in any way, we should always constantly be trying to better ourselves, trying to build up, develop our mind, develop our body. Just, keeping our body strong and our mind strong. You know what I mean? If you know that means reading a book or watching documentaries or studying this and studying that. Just generally constantly learning, and whenever we get the chance to learn something, we take the time to learn something new, and constantly involving ourselves in our own education of ourselves and learning what other people can teach us as well at the same time. And we need to create some kind of peace amongst ourselves as black people, as the brighter race. We need to create some kind of peace amongst ourselves. We're not fighting amongst ourselves, you know what I mean? And arguing about petty things that don't even really matter, or situations, you know what I mean, or minor material stuff. We need to create some sort of peace amongst ourselves. We've been warring at each other for the longest time. And you niggas sick of that by now. And you niggas sick of this fucking crypt and blood shit. You telling me you niggas ain't sick of that shit now, blood? You niggas thinking about it, crypt, blood. And you lot sick of this blood and crypt stuff, man. Not being able to go to other areas. When you do this blood and crypt stuff, this east side, north side, west side bullshit, it's basically keeping us trapped as prisoners within our own area, within our own borough. So we stay in the same area because we don't feel to go to another area because we're not from that area. It's basically keeping us locked in place and not exploring and not really doing anything or going anywhere. This bullshit, man, this north, east, south, west stuff, man. Save that for the other idiots, man. Come on, wake up, my people, man. If you're gonna wake up properly, innit? This north, east, south, west crap, red, blue, all this crap is what's keeping us locked in place. It's stopping us from uniting and going where we want to go and being 100% free. We'll be more free as people when we can go to whatever area we want to go to. So yeah, man, put an end to that bullshit. And another thing I like to talk about is giving ourselves new names to identify as, because when you give yourself the name, when you give yourself a name, it carries with it its attributes of that name. Whatever the name means is how the person's going to come out as. And also the name carries with it certain skills, attributes and abilities unique to that name. So we need to give ourselves new names. Because most of us, we just, in America or England or wherever, we have the American or English names, some of us. And these are not our true names. They're not our true names, they're not coming from our people. So we need to give ourselves new names, still keep the old name, but when we're amongst each other, we use our new names to each other. You know what I mean? So new names is definitely one to think about. Give ourselves a new identity, or something to identify as amongst our people. It's got to be black sounding names. You know what I mean? So names is very important. Also, we need to teach others techniques, methods, knowledge, wisdom and power. And it's important for us to teach each other. There are a lot of teachers out there that are teaching people at the moment. Shout out to the teachers out there. But these teachers are mainly teaching knowledge, wisdom and power, and rarely teaching techniques and methods. Because it's important that they teach techniques and methods, because there's not a lot of techniques and methods being taught. People teach you knowledge, wisdom and power in their teaching videos, but they don't really teach you how to use abilities or powers that they possess. There are a lot of skillful people out there with a lot of powers and techniques and methods that they have, that they could pass on to others. When you pass on your techniques and methods to another black person or bright person or whatever, you're basically making that person stronger. And if everyone passes on their techniques and methods to each other, you basically make the whole race stronger, therefore making yourself stronger. So it's important that we pass on our techniques and methods to each other. Very important. So yeah, these are just some of the things that I wanted to discuss. And I hope you found everything that I said very informative and you liked the video. So yeah, just trying to share some knowledge and wisdom. You are listening to the Ahmenu Sage channel, Nubian Kingz 144 production, BlackDragon television channel, TV, and this has just been my little message for the black people. You are watching the video. The video is titled "The Topic of Racism." So if you like the video, give a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share this video with as many people as you can. And remember, this is my message to you black people. We are all one people and we've been through a lot. Don't allow the destruction of our name, our power, our way of life, our history, our family, our image, our freedom to be destroyed. Now is the time for unity, loyalty, respect, strength, wisdom, and if need be, war. Be proud of your roots and where you come from. Ahmenu Sage, Nubian Kingz 144 production, BlackDragon TV, Ahmenu Sage channel. I hope you liked the video. Look out for more videos to come in the future. And I'll see you again soon. Alright, goodbye.